Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of r/IDOWorkHereLady. In this episode, you'll hear about how one guy doesn't believe a woman can be a gas technician, a person who thinks pregnant women can't work and shouldn't work, an employee mistaken as a young thief, and a store manager who's in fact the store manager. I hope you stay for all these stories today, and subscribe for future videos. This story's titled, "Yes, sir, I'm working in your yard. You have an appointment." I'm a service technician for the gas company. I'm also the only female service technician for the gas company. This leads to confusion on a daily basis. So I arrived to a 9 to 12 appointment the other day at 9:05 a.m. Super simple job. Exchange gas meter, inspect gas equipment in the house, relight the equipment, and then be on my way to my next call. We get 30 minutes allotted for each job like this, but dispatch understands that this doesn't always work. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes if the old meter was installed well and the gas equipment's all new, but sometimes it takes 3 hours if I have to rebuild their whole service and coax an old boiler back to life. I grab my tools out of the truck, grab a new meter, and head to the front door. The call says the customer left a note with them that said, "Hazard, dog." So I figure it's best to check in with the customer before I head into the yard. I knock and ring the doorbell. No answer, so I pull the customer's number off the call and give him a ring. I said, "Good morning. This is OP from the gas company. You have a meter exchange appointment booked for this morning. Is anyone home?" The customer responds, "Not at the moment. Is the tech there already?" "Yes, sir. I'm here at this address. Will you be home soon?" He replies, "Yes. Tell the tech to wait. I'll be home in about 15 minutes. I told him that I'll wait and asked if it was safe to work since there's a dog, but the customer just hangs up without answering my question, so I decide to wait. Anyway, it's minus 28 degrees. I'm bundled up, but since I'm gonna be outside all day, I decide to wait in the truck to preserve my warmth. I drop my tools and the new meter off at the gate to the yard and sit in my truck until the customer pulls into the driveway. When the customer arrives, I immediately leave my truck and jog over to the house. The customer said, "So, I spoke with someone in the office and they said the tech was already here. Where is he? I have to get back to work soon. I can't wait here all morning." I told him that, "I'm the tech, sir, and that was me that you spoke with. If you're all good, I'll get that meter changed out for you, and then get the furnace and water heater going." The customer snarkily says, "Well, if you say so, but if that's the case, where are your tools?" I replied, "Over by the gate. I left them there so they'd be ready to go when you got here." The customer then responds, Okay, say, how long have you been doing this?" This, specifically, a little over a year. Working in the industry though, almost 9 years. The customer then said, "Okay, go ahead. You don't have anyone coming to help you? It seems like a tough job for a woman." "No, sir, this is actually a simple job. I should be able to have it done in 15 to 20 minutes or so. And the call said you have a dangerous dog. Is it contained?" The customer replied, "He's a 12-year-old beagle. You're fine. I don't know why anyone thought he was dangerous." So I could have started almost 3/4 of an hour ago at this point, and my next 2 calls were in jeopardy because of how long I'd been here at this point. So I get to work, and sure enough, his meter's in pretty rough shape. I pull the meter off with some difficulty and my largest wrenches, and then start cranking some of the bad fittings out so I can rebuild part of the set and make this job easier next time we have to change the meter. He was leaning over my shoulder the whole time, continually asking if I was sure I know what I'm doing, and if I really don't need to call for help. I got my fittings done and went inside. Sure enough, the gas equipment was all high efficiency, so all it took was a couple of resets to clear out the air bubbles, and it fired up perfectly. The call took about an hour once I actually had my tools on, which is a little longer than I anticipated, but a very good time frame for the work that I wound up having to do to leave the place in a safe condition. A very good time frame, mind you, for any tech who could have had the call. As I was gathering my things to go, he got one last jab in and said, "You know, I would really appreciate it if they would send a real tech next time. I don't feel comfortable having one of the office girls do this kind of work for me. I'm gonna have to have a word with the gas company and tell them this." I said, "Sir, for the last time, I'm a qualified service technician." I got my stuff and left. The next customer was a very sweet old lady who met me at the door and immediately presented me with muffins. This story's titled, "Oh, you work here. Pregnant ladies don't work?" Little bit of backstory. I was 15 at the time, and I was looking for a job, and my mom works at a thrift store that she owns, and she was 7 months pregnant. Okay, but anyway, I went to my mom's work with her because it was a Saturday, and my mom wanted to show me around the thrift shop that she owned, and still owns. My mom was showing me around. She showed me the storage room, the break room, all that stuff. So the first customer came in, and I watched my mom help them, and I watched her help a few more customers. She was working up front because most of the employees didn't show up for another few hours, and the others were on break or something. Then, a girl, who, yes, had a Karen hairstyle, walked in holding her kid's hand, and this is how the conversation went. I'm just gonna call her Karen. Karen says, "Hello ma'am, where are the scarves at?" My mom replied, "We don't have any on the shelves right now, but I could bring some from the back for you to look at." Karen took a look at my mom and said, "Can I get a real employee, please? Like that girl sitting behind you." My mom replied, "Sorry ma'am, she's just watching me work. I'm the only person working right now, and I'd be glad to help you." Karen then said, "Pregnant women don't work. They should just stay home." I must have chuckled because Karen glared at me and said, "Sweetie, you in the chair, come help me get a scarf." I said to her, "Oh, I'm her daughter watching her work so I can try it out myself. She's the owner." Karen looked at me shocked as one of the employees walked in from break. Karen says, "I'm calling the police." The employee questions what's going on, and Karen says, "These two fake employees are telling me that they're out of scarves and being rude, and she's saying she's the manager." The employee laughed and said, "Ma'am, that is my boss, and we're gonna have to ask you to leave." Karen's face turned red and she stormed out of the shop, and her kid looked embarrassed for a 5-year-old. This story's titled, "I Can Pull Out My Badge for You." So I work in a retail drugstore establishment. Heavy stream of people from opening to closing, and I've been stuck with this one specific store for over 4 years now. Always got mistaken for employees in other stores, but the situation never got bad. Never have I ever had a customer do anything except ask the big question and then apologize. But this was new. I just walked into my own store, normally carrying a bag with my uniform in it so I can throw it over my current shirt just in case I have to stop somewhere before or after work for anything. Just for this story's exact reason. It's a straight walk from the front door to the break room, and as I put my hand on the door, this lady starts snapping her fingers at me and doing the nuh-uh, sound that you normally try to use on a pet or child if they're misbehaving. Of course, this grabs my attention, and of course, she's looking right at me. The lady says, "What do you think you're doing? You're not allowed back there." I replied, "Pardon? That's for employees only. Are you daft? You can't just go into restricted areas." I'm in my 20s with obvious tattoos at that, and I realize what she means, and I replied, "I'm sorry ma'am, but I'm one of the employees. My uniform's in my bag, and I can show you my work badge too if that isn't sufficient." I pushed open the door and stepped in before she tried speaking again. Had to start my shift, but was expecting her to storm in, and she never did. And when I came out in the uniform, I didn't even see her in the store anymore. The store manager came up to me and said someone tried to tell her that a child was in the break room attempting to steal the employee's items, and she had to tell the customer that I was in fact an employee after hearing the lady describe what I looked like. I wish I could have seen that conversation go down. This story's titled, "I Am the Manager." So when I was a cashier of a Taco Bell and got promoted to be a manager, I was expecting Karens, and I was right. Our badges didn't say that we were the manager, it was just the uniforms. So one of my employees took a break, so I took his job for a bit because I was bored and had nothing to do. And here, I encounter a Karen and her hellspawn. So I was taking her drinks order, and her little hellspawn cried so loud that everyone looked at her. And the mom said, "Look what you did, you made my little Hellspawn's name, cry. Let me speak to the manager and I demand compensation. She shouted loudly that one of the employees was about to burst out laughing. I walked away to my office and then came back and said, "Hi, I'm the manager. How can I help you?" Almost everyone bursted out laughing, and the lady said, "What the hell? Where's your manager? I want to speak to the manager." I replied, "I am the manager." She instantly turned red and went quiet. Of course, she still paid. She was probably embarrassed and just gave up. That's my story. Thank you for reading. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode of r/IDOWorkHereLady. If you missed the last episode, it's right here. And if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes. See you guys in the next one.